Hey YouTube, this is not the most opportune time to make a video. I'm on a morning walk. Every morning I walk 3 miles, but this is the only time today I will have time to film this video, so I just wanted to get it over with. And basically what I wanted to talk about is the box office performance for Indiana Jones 5, which, as predicted, has been a box office failure. And I know some people are saying like, oh, this is nothing to celebrate, but I personally think it is something to celebrate. I don't think that failure should ever be rewarded, and unfortunately, as we've seen in Lucasfilm over the past decade, that's exactly what our experience has been. The rewarding of failure over and over again, and not just the rewarding, but like trolling of the fans, trolling of the people that made these franchises successful in the first place. What was also seen as the abandonment of future fans, which are children. My own experience with Lucasfilm and Disney, and the thing that to me many years ago brought me a lot of, many years ago when Lucasfilm was purchased by Disney, I was actually very hopeful. I saw that as a great move for Lucasfilm, and I thought that Disney would be a company that would ensure the legacy of Lucasfilm for many years to come. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and I'll tell you the story of when I realized this was not going to be the case, and that was when The Force Awakens came out. I actually loved The Force Awakens. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I thought it was so good. Everybody came out of that theater, and there was all these organic memes, and everybody was just really excited what's going to happen next. But unfortunately, that dissipated. Well, I'll tell you, what was troubling was a month later when Christmas rolled around. So I was very excited because I had a young son. He was like 5 years old maybe. And so we were really excited because we thought, yeah, like this is his entrance. This is his entry into the fandom. This is his entry into Star Wars. These are the movies that are going to be his prequel series or his Clone Wars, that sort of thing. So that year for Christmas, we got him all of these Star Wars Force Awakens stuff, because we always buy Christmas stuff in advance, way in advance. So it was like Star Wars Christmas. Well, he did not really care for any of the Star Wars stuff, except for the stuff of course, he was familiar with the original trilogy, the prequels. That was all he cared about. All he cared about was Han Solo, Millennium Falcon, that sort of thing. He didn't care about Rey. He didn't care about Finn. He didn't care about Poe. He didn't care about BB-8. He just wasn't into it. And to me, that was like a sign that, so I took him to see Frozen when he was like 3 or 4. And I'll tell you, that was a surprise hit. We went into the theater, I went into the theater not really knowing what to expect, but I used to take him to see all the Disney movies. Disney was a very trustworthy company. You could take your kids to see these movies. You didn't have to worry about politics. You didn't have to worry about weird stuff. So I took him to see Frozen. And I'll tell you, when Elsa broke into that song, y'all know exactly that moment I'm talking about, and those ice crystals start shooting up in that castle all around her, I had a voice in my head and it was the sound, it was like a song, and the lyrics of the song were the angels opening up the heavens, and Disney selling 1 billion Elsa dolls. I just knew that was what was going to happen. And that is what happened. And even my son was into it. We had the soundtrack, and he loved Olaf, and it was great. So for Disney to release this movie, The Force Awakens, and not even be able to capture what, you know, should be their target audience, which is young kids, well, that's a big damn problem. Like, why are we making movies for, you know, 30-plus-year-old cat ladies like myself? Like, that ain't how we make $1 billion. So, of course, when the next one came out, it was even worse. And the third one came out, like, was just terrible. You know, the Star Wars movie that shall not be named. So, and then since then, the only gleam of hope we've gotten, really solid, has been The Mandalorian, which was like a breath of fresh air. Made that Disney stock price jump back up, all this and that. It was great. And, but we all know that Kathleen Kennedy didn't really have her hand in that too much in season 1. So, there's a lot of rumors that Kathleen Kennedy may be fired today. And of course, this is what a lot of people have been hoping for years now. I think for 2 years, there's been a lot of hope, like her contract won't be renewed, she'll be fired, you know, blah, 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 this and that. And of course, like, we're always disappointed, like, it never happens. I think the shareholder lawsuit over the Disney Plus earnings has really changed things. You cannot continue to deceive the shareholders. You cannot continue to finance projects that don't make money. Like, that's not how a publicly traded company works. It's not how a publicly traded company should work. It's not about morals. It's not about your beliefs. It's about being financially viable and about the share price. So I think that was like the way that tipped those scales was the shareholder lawsuit personally. But I mean, like, we'll probably never know. Will she be fired? We don't really know. Now, I heard a rumor this morning that she'll be temporarily replaced by Jon Favreau. There's been a lot of leaks over the years from Lucasfilm, from higher up people in Lucasfilm, and I think actually a lot of these leaks have originated from Jon Favreau or Jon Favreau's camp. I truly believe this. I think he's even legally published books, Legends books, you know, as a dig at Kathleen Kennedy. And I think that is like the only person, absolutely the only person they could put in charge of Lucasfilm to restore faith in Lucasfilm, to restore the shareholders' faith in Lucasfilm, and to send a signal that yes, we want the only person that has given us a truly great show in Star Wars, a person that is truly a fan of Star Wars, that truly loves Star Wars, that's truly familiar with the lore of Star Wars, that respects the lore of Star Wars, the mythology, the characters, not just of the original trilogy, not even just of the prequels. We're talking about Clone Wars, we're talking about Rebels, we're talking about the countless Legends novels that exist. All of these things. I believe that person is Jon Favreau, but of course, like, that's a fantasy world. Now, what I actually want to make this video about was a statement Kathleen Kennedy made. I think it was like last week, or it was when Indiana Jones 5, Indy 5 first came out, and she was saying, something along the lines of like, don't listen to the box office. If you don't go see this movie, you're not professional. It's not professional to listen to the box office. What kind of horseshit is this? I really, you know, it's baffling to once again, these statements like this are baffling, but like, I sort of understand, because we've lived in a culture for the past 10 years where if you have any opinion that's not a mainstream opinion, you're shouted down, and there's like this contest going on of who's the most moral person, who's the most good person. But when it comes to the box office, when it comes to movies, like, and they really tried it. They really have tried it. It's not about morals. It's not about being a good person. It's about being entertained. People just want to be entertained. They don't want to be lectured to. They don't want to be patronized. They don't want to be told that they're a bad person, you know, like they're going to school, like they're going to Sunday school, all this and that. They just want to be entertained for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I think it's gotten to the point where Hollywood is realizing, I hope anyway, that their model of lecturing is just not working. They've doubled down, they've moved, so they're doubling down. If you're familiar with Richard Meyer, my boy Zach, he's sort of like having a midlife crisis over Indiana Jones 5, I think. You know, it's definitely not going to make $1 billion in the market. But years ago, he used to talk about these rules for SJWs. And if you go back, I mean, I wrote these rules down because it was so true. And so we've had them double down, but now they've got to move the goalposts. And now it's not that you're not a bad, like, they can't say, like, if you don't go see Indiana Jones, you're a bad person, because there's no gay kiss in Indiana Jones. Like, there's no social engineering goal in this movie. They really truly just wanted to make a movie that would make $1 billion. They truly did. So they did try, I think, in some regards, to damper down on certain things, certain political themes. But the problem is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a completely unlikable actress. We already know, we knew 5 months ago that her treatment of Indiana Jones as the character of Helena Shaw in this movie was going to be patronizing. So Indiana Jones is sort of like the everyman of our generation, I guess you would say. Like, he's the person, like, we all wanted to grow up and be like. He, you know, what do they call it? A gentleman in the streets, a freak in the sheets, I guess you'd say. Like, he's a dude, he's got a good job, a respectable job, or wears a suit. But then when he gets off work, he starts his real job, which is like he's a mercenary going after the artifacts to save them and all this and that. So he was sort of like this hero to all of us, and somebody like relatable. He was always like kind of relatable. So when you take an everyman character like that and then you insert this, which I believe is truly, like a lot of people have suggested, Kathleen Kennedy inserting herself, somebody that can be her, into this movie to destroy him, to take his place. Well, people aren't gonna like that. Nobody wants to see that. It doesn't matter how many explosions. It doesn't matter how many chase scenes. It doesn't matter how good the CGI is. It doesn't matter how good the director is. Nobody wants to see their heroes be destroyed with no chance of redemption. It's just not a thing. So maybe Kathleen Kennedy will be, you know, there was these rumors that if Indy 5 didn't make $1 billion, that Kathleen Kennedy was going to get fired. That there had been a secret meeting between Kennedy and Iger, and Iger had said it's not good enough that Indy 5 break even. It's got to make $1 billion. It don't even look like it's gonna break even. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you, like, I don't believe that people should fail upwards. I don't believe that Kennedy was the right leadership for Lucasfilm. I think that it was almost criminal of her to hire Leslie Headland to write a Star Wars show. I don't know how anybody can call themselves a feminist or pretend to be feminists and support Leslie Headland or her. And you know, that was another rumor that Leslie Headland was being groomed to replace Kathleen Kennedy, because Kathleen Kennedy is no spring chicken. Like, she's an old lady, so I mean, there's only so much Botox can do. Just look at, you know, our president. Adderall and Botox can only get you so far in life. Your body's eventually going to give out. So that just, to me, is sick. The protege of Harvey Weinstein in charge of Lucasfilm, pretending like we care about women, the force is female, all this and that. Star Wars has always been full of strong women, always. Many strong women and serving in many different capacities, even, not just Princess Leia. So it's just, it's a real interesting time. And my predictions, so they say even Dave Filoni is not safe. And although I do believe that Dave Filoni is a true Star Wars fan, I've never been a big fan of Rebels. I barely have any interest in Ahsoka series. I didn't think Ahsoka was that interesting when she was in The Mandalorian. I actually really like the Book of Boba Fett. And I think there was so much potential there. But I believe the rumors that Favreau was busy. He didn't have it locked down like he did Mando, season 1. And unfortunately, like, Kennedy got her grubby little fingers on it and, you know, diminished it in a lot of ways. So I'm very interested. Now I will say this. So one sign that shit really is hitting the fan is that pretty much every Lucasfilm product is marked down 50% at Target. If you go to Target, indie figures are 50% off, Black Series 50% off, Micro Galaxy Squadron ships 50% off. I mean, like, that's crazy. Okay, like, if a movie is successful, like Indiana Jones, you're not going to 2 weeks after, when the momentum would normally be picking up, you're not going to mark everything down 50% off and put it on clearance to try and get rid of it. That would be crazy. I mean, the third wave, the Dial of Destiny figure wave hasn't even dropped yet, and we're already discounting it and trying to get it out off the shelves. So that's nuts. I had to see it for myself, so I went to Target, and sure enough, it was true. So that right there shows you, you know, we've had a lot of firings in Disney. Well, you know, leaving for my health, like leaving to spend more time with family. We all know what that means. Everybody that's ever had like a real grown-up job. So it's just really fascinating. I'm on a starting mile 2 right now. So anyway, that's my opinions. Maybe I can get this video posted before the rumored meeting. We'll see, but basically, none of us know what the future for Star Wars is. At least we do know the future for Black Series for at least the next year, because pre-orders are insane. But once again, I'm gonna make a Black Series video. Also, my book that I ordered, I'm a Clone Trooper came in, so I really want to have that book. I haven't cracked the spine on it yet. I'm gonna crack the spine and let YouTube have my first reactions to this exciting book. I Am a Clone Trooper. My son saw it, and he said, "I saw your book on the shelf." And I was like, "Oh, you mean I Am a Clone Trooper?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's really dark." So I'm excited to read this. Anyway, so like and subscribe for future content. Thanks for watching. Peace out.